And when you first install the Qvinci Sync client on your computer, by default it's set to run in the background all the time and begin running each time you reboot your computer. If we want to switch to manual syncs, we need to disable it from running in the background and starting up with your computer. And on Windows 8 and newer, we'll actually do that from the Task Manager. You can either press Ctrl-Alt-Delete on your keyboard to get there, or you can right-click on the Start menu or anywhere in the taskbar to get to the Task Manager. We want to come to the Startup tab up here. Occasionally, you may not see the Startup tab. When you open the Task Manager, it may look like this, and you may have to click More Details down here in the corner for these tabs to appear. We'll go to Startup. We'll find the Qvinci Sync client in the list of startup applications, and you'll hit Disable down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And we're all done. And if you're using Windows 7 or an earlier version of Windows like Vista, the steps to keep the sync client from running when you reboot your computer are similar, but not exactly the same. I don't actually have a copy of this version of Windows, so just imagine with me if you will. For those versions, you'd come down to the Start menu here in the bottom left, and instead of having a search bar right here as you do in Windows 8 and Windows 10, there will be a small search bar right around here. And you would want to type in the string M as in Mary, S as in Sam, and then the word config. There will be one search option here at the top. If you double click there, it will pop open another window that is very similar to the Task Manager that you'd see in Windows 8 or Windows 10. You'd again come here to the Startup tab, find the Qvinci Sync client, and hit Disable. And your Sync client will no longer come up automatically. So you've just disabled this Qvinci Sync client from loading each time you reboot your computer. So we'll now have to prompt manual syncs once a month or so, or however often you close the books for the file syncing to Qvinci. Each time you do that, you'll first need to open the QuickBooks file that we need to sync. And since the Qvinci Sync client isn't running automatically, we'll need to launch that from our desktop as well. So you'll come to your desktop, double click on the icon for the Sync client. Instead of popping up in your main window, it'll come to your system tray here in the bottom right. Sometimes you'll see the little Q icon here just to the left of your clock. Sometimes we'll have to click on this little arrow pointing up to see the Qvinci Sync client icon. And once you have it here, we'll right-click on the little Q, and we'll go to Open Sync Client. And we're ready to prompt a manual sync. And once you have both the QuickBooks file and the sync client open, prompting a manual sync is pretty easy. All you'll have to do is come to the Sync button here on the right and left-click. Now I just need to wait for the manual sync to complete. Depending on the size of the file and your internet connection, this usually takes about 45 seconds or so. Could take a bit longer if you have a large file or if you're in multi-user mode and have several other users logged in. And once the background turns green, that particular file has finished syncing. If you have any other files to sync, you can go ahead and open them up in QuickBooks, and you can follow those steps. Just hit the sync button once for each file. And once you've prompted a sync for each file that's connected to Qvinci, you just want to make sure that you completely close out of the sync client. So first we'll click on the X here in the top right corner as you normally do, but this actually doesn't completely exit the program. It's still running in the background. And to make sure that it's closed completely, we'll come back down here to the system tray. You may see the Qvinci Sync client icon here again to the left of your clock, or you may have to click on this little up arrow. We'll right click on the Q icon, This time we'll go to Exit. And we've switched to manual syncs, and you know how that process goes. Contact us if you have any questions.